Diablo. The longest week of my life. I just want to know where he is. I need to know he's safe. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. I knew things were bad, but I never expected him to run away. If he had run away, it'd be understandable. But Xena and Truffles? It doesn't add up. Joey and Xena would never run away together, and Truffles wouldn't stay away from home this long, not unless he was being fed elsewhere. We've had to accept it. Something really bad has happened. We're all so tired. I've not slept at all. I don't intend to, not until they're found. Mum has been pacing the halls. Dad and I have taken a time off work to focus our time on searching for them. Grandmother has been walking in the past constantly, trying to find any sign of where they could have gone. Baby is unconsolable. He's just a baby, but he can feel the weight of despair just like the rest of us. I can't even comprehend what could have happened. There is no scenario I could imagine this happening. The only thing keeping us going is the knowledge they're alive. Grandad hasn't seen them appear beyond the veil, which means they're still with us. Honestly, that feels worse. At least if they were dead, we'd have peace and knew where they were, but we know nothing. How could they sneak away from us, right under our noses? We're getting ready for our daily search, going around the town, battering anyone we can for information, but the more we do it, the less interested in helping they've become. We're on our own. Adelaide has arrived. She's talking about spreading the word at her Halloween gig. Honestly, I forgot it was Halloween. My favourite season has taken a backseat to my worry. I just want to lay down in bed and cry, but I can't because Joey isn't there. I can't be sad knowing he's not with me. That would kill me. The rain is smashing against my face. It suffocates me with its dense wetness, like I'm undergoing the cruelest form of water torture. I don't know where else to look. We've scoured almost every inch of this town, and still nothing. I'm so tired. The only thing keeping me awake is focusing on Joey and keeping my heart pumping regularly. When you think about it, I would be really difficult to kill if it wasn't sudden. I mean, my heart can't stop if I'm actively controlling it. I could be immortal. Ugh, what am I even saying? My abilities can't stretch that far, surely. Adelaide, or should I say Bloody Marie, since she's in drag, runs up to us in her Marie Antoinette costume. She's wearing a sparkling ruby necklace representing blood around her neck. It's beautiful. Where does she find all this stuff? I have news, she screams through the rain. We all look at her, desperate for any kind of hope, and she opens her hands to reveal a toad. I found Anakin! Or rather, he's found me. As it turns out, Xena has been keeping a secret pet toad named Anakin in her room. Mum isn't very impressed with the news, but she's thankful, just as we all are, that we all at least have a lead. Marie places Anakin down on the wet pavement, and he starts hopping away, stopping every few minutes to check we're following. He's a very intelligent toad, I'll give him that. I wonder what he and Xena talk about. I always knew I heard Croaks replying to her when she spoke to herself. Anakin leads us to a block of flats not too far away. We follow him to the door, and then stand there because none of us know what our next move is. We don't even know which flat they're in, if any. I pick up Anakin and ask him which flat they're in. It's a silly thing to do. He can't talk back to me. I'm not Xena. But to my surprise, and to the surprise of all of us, he croaks 16 times in quick succession. They could easily be mistaken for hiccups, but they were unmistakably the number we needed. Dad pushes the button for number 16, and a masculine voice answers, Yeah? Who is it? Hi, I'm here with a delivery. Didn't order anything. Dad looks to Mum, and I noticed she was squinting her eyes, trying to get a better listen to the quiet speaker. She shakes her head and steps forward. Well, we have a delivery for the residents of number 16. If you don't want it, that's fine. I'll just lug it back to the van. Thank you for wasting our time. Hold on. The person on the other end of the speaker steps away to talk to someone. All right, bring it up. The door opens with a sound of a buzzer, and we all clamber in. Marie has to quite literally force her giant dress through the small door. I wonder how in the heck she's going to make it all the way up the first floor. But I needn't wonder for long, because before I know it, we're already outside the door. It's the second time today 6 of us are standing outside the door, not sure what to do with ourselves. Dad is the one who takes the initiative and knocks. The man answering the door seems a tad shocked to see all of us standing there, especially the sight of a drag queen and a baby amongst them. His shock ends as soon as Mum lays a fist to his jaw, and he falls backwards into his flat. It was an impressive blow, especially when you factor in the fact she did it whilst holding baby. We force our way in and find 3 men sitting in a living room watching who knows what. They jump out of their seats ready for the attack. Mum practically throws baby to Dad and lunges at them. One slips past her and sets his sights on Marie, the most noticeable of the group. I start making my way over to her until I realise Grandmother is in just as much danger. One of them is heading towards her as well. My thought process is this. Not only is Marie younger, but she's also wearing more clothes, so it stands to reason she has an extra layer of protection. I've never landed a punch before, and I don't have to, because Grandmother is the one who knocks the guy to the ground. I stand in awe as Dad screams, "Mother!" She winks to him as she motions for us to flee the room. Dad, baby, and I head for the door. We're followed quickly by Marie, who for a moment I think is wearing some kind of chainmail, but it's just in my mind as she's still wearing her costume. It's clear Mum and Grandmother have got this. We head for the stairs as quietly as we can so we don't disturb anyone who could potentially be up there. Marie goes up first, followed by Dad and baby, and me in the rear. As I get to the top of the stairs, I feel the cold touch of metal on my neck. I gulp as the blade begins digging itself in. They've already gone ahead to one of the rooms. There's no one to save me now. I feel the blade slice against my neck slowly. I feel blood pouring down me. I see the red face of death laughing as I prepare myself to greet him. Then it goes black. I wake up in a puddle of my own blood, Mum desperately shaking me awake. I survived? I sit up and look behind me to see my killer laying face down in a pool of... Whose blood is that? His or mine? Mum pulls me into the biggest tug I've ever had and keeps repeating how incredible I was. I have no idea what I did, but it must have been epic to cause such a fuss to save my life. Apparently Grandmother was busy tying up the other attackers downstairs, so we had time to go around exploring. We look in every room and find nothing. I start to worry we've come to the wrong place and just attacked the wrong people, but I have to remind myself that one of them was more than comfortable with seeing me dead, and that I shouldn't feel bad. I do feel defeated though. We all do. We all gather around and sit on one of the double beds in silence, not sure where to go from here. It felt like we were so close to saving them, and then thrown back 100 feet. Dad places baby on the ground once he's certain there's no immediate threats to him around, and he begins crawling towards a corner of the room, ducks his head under the curtain and drags out a key. Dad takes the key from his hands and does the mantra, to baby. He goes to put the key on a chest of drawers nearby, when Marie points out that it's a long shed key. I'm sure of it. Our shed key looks just like that, she assures us. Hope returns again. What if they're locked up in a shed? Of course, they wouldn't keep them in the main flat. That'd be too obvious. But what shed? This is a block of flats. Last time I checked, flats don't have sheds. Do they? I think back to Uncle David's old flat and remember he did have a shed in a small courtyard where all the flats bins were. Upon this discovery, we head out. It feels too easy. That's what's in my gut. Everything we've done so far has felt like it's just fallen into our lap. Why was the key on the ground? Surely if it was that important, it would be somewhere safer. Anakin as well, leading us right here. And Halloween? What's that saying? Twice is a coincidence. What's the saying again? Twice is a coincidence, thrice is a pattern. I yell for Marie to stop just as she turns the lock to the shed, but it's too late. The door bursts open and searing heat floods out from inside. Marie's dress catches the light and she tears herself out of it. Everyone else was far enough away from the blast zone, except for me. I feel my skin peeling off. I feel my bones forcing their way to the surface. I feel my lungs burning inside me. All I can do is scream as a hand reaches out to me in the smoke and drags me away with it. Drags me to hell. You made it, a voice beams joyfully as I frantically search for its origin. I've been waiting for you for such a long time. I cut to the chase and demand to see where Joey, Xena and Truffles are. The voice morphs into an amused laugh as thick black smoke in front of me dissipates. They're all there safe and well, but exhausted too. They look up to me with anger in their eyes. They're not happy to see me. I don't understand. Then they disappear again. On second thought, that's just cruel, even for me. Don't worry, they're not down here. They're locked in the attic of the flat. I ask why it wanted us to come to the shed. Perhaps it was to throw us off the scent. The voice makes a loud game show buzzer sound, implying we got the answer wrong. You didn't go to the shed. You're dead. I was just messing with you. I take it all in. Of course I'm dead. There was no way to survive having my throat slit. I ask if I'm in hell. This isn't hell. This is the underworld, my kingdom, my domain. I suppose you'll be wanting more answers. Well, duh. A group of my loyal followers kidnapped your boyfriend, sister, and pig in order to summon me into your world. They needed a witch, your sister was close enough for that, and a sacrifice. My heart breaks thinking about how they sacrificed Truffles. He had never done anything to hurt anyone in his life. Oh, you think I meant the pig? No. The pig is fine. The sacrifice was Joey. My heart stops for the second time today. I didn't notice it at the first, but now it hits me with full force. I ask if he's already gone. He's alive, but not for much longer, Charlemagne. There has to be something I can do. I can't be here. I need to be up there. I need to save him. The silhouette of a figure breaks out from the shadows surrounding me. I see it in all its glory. The devil. This is where you belong, Charlemagne. Down here with me. You were always my favourite collector. So very intriguing to me. It approached me with an unsettling calmness. Its hooves silently tapping against the brimstone ground below our feet. I'm surprised to realise it doesn't burn. I can't feel anything, actually. I suppose you're wondering what a collector is, I wasn't. To be honest, I don't care about anything right now, other than getting out to find Joey, Xena, and Truffles. The devil tries reading my face, but it looks like it's struggling. It can't read minds? For centuries, I've been travelling the world, finding individuals down on their luck and gifting them with a little boost, giving them a power, if you will. There was a mutual agreement. I'd give them powers and they'd collect powers from archetypes to give to me upon their own death, which often came sooner rather than later. It savoured its words. I look around searching for any sign of an exit. All I see is darkness and a ballet of rich orange, blue and purple light dancing all around me. It's hard to tell if this is a chamber or an infinite space. I imagine this is what the true form of what Beyond the Veil looks like, when it's not catering to its inhabitants' preferred image. It's somewhat beautiful in a way. This relationship worked for years, just one individual every few centuries, and then I got greedy. She really loves the sound of its own voice. I picked 2 collectors instead of 1, a couple. That was my first mistake. I look past the devil and see a gap in the shadows behind it where it came through. Of course, you can travel by shadows here. My second mistake was not realising she was pregnant. I contemplate the best way to get past it. Do I just run? Do I try sneaking past? Once the baby was born, it was too late. It set off a chain reaction, throwing the number of collectors off balance. I tried countering it by making more, but it was too late. I feel its eyes burying themselves deep into my soul. I hope you're listening, Charlemagne, because this is the part where you come in. Now I'm listening. That baby was me. I turned so fast to give myself whiplash. It's me, isn't it? Grandmother? Clever girl, the devil whispers to itself. How did you get in here? I was wondering the same thing. I walked to the past to save Charles just before he died. I've never intervened before. I didn't know I could, but I couldn't stand to lose my grandson. So I burst through the barrier and followed your voice to here. Grandmother took a step forward, but was pushed back to where she'd stepped from. You silly old goat. You can't enter here. You're stuck in the past. You'll have to catch up. You'll have to wait. Time is confusing here. How long have I been dead for? What was the point of leading me to the shed via an illusion if it's already had me dead? It seems like too much hassle to me. Then I remember how the shed had opened up into some kind of hellish pit, a hellmouth. It was stuck down here. That gives us the upper hand, if only we figure out a way to use it. Do you remember me, Dalphie? I looked at Grandmother for her response. She sighs and nods. Of course I do, Diablo. She knows it? I mean, I know it's the devil, but they're on a first-name basis. You've haunted my nightmares for decades, taunting me. I thought you were a sleep paralysis demon or something. Now I see you in the flesh. Why, you're just another archetype, aren't you? Aha. Diablo isn't the devil at all. It's just a very old archetype. That means it can be destroyed. The air is filled with a Latin chant. I don't know Latin, but I wish I did. It's starting. Diablo took a long, deep breath. Finally, I can return to the new universe above. New universe? I exclaim out loud. Of course, Charlemagne. You're standing in the ruins of the old universe. My, soon-to-be your, prison. I didn't get it. His plans seem so inconsistent. They are here, but they don't belong down here. But I do belong down here. It's confusing. It's messing with my head. Charles, are you all right? Grandmother asks. I burst into laughter. It isn't trapped down here at all. If it was, how would it be able to create for collectors above? Those individuals in the flat didn't kidnap my family. It was Diablo. It's a master of illusion. It takes a confident step. I take a confident step forward, and it looks at me surprised. Charlemagne, are you ready to spend eternity damned to the pits of the underworld? Nah. I rush at it, grabbing by the throat. It thrashes around, digging its dagger-like fingers into my skin. I wince as I look to Grandmother for support. She watches on helplessly, trapped minutes behind us. She's never been able to travel forwards. I begin yelling at Diablo as I recite everything I've learned. You're cleverer than I had you down for. It's true, it gagged. I've never been good at avoiding plot holes, but getting your family all in one place was the priority. And now... It pushed me away like I was no heavier than a pillow and straightened its tie. I didn't even know it was wearing a suit until now. Now you're all right where I want you. It stepped back into the shadows. I followed quickly behind. I stepped out into the dark attic. My eyes caught Joey tied up first. I went to rush for him, but as soon as my skin touched the light, it began bubbling away. I screamed in agony as I retreated back into the shadows. Joey looked over to me horrified. Truffles trotted over to me and brushed against my leg. He wasn't restrained, or if he had been, he wasn't now. It's a trap, Charles. It brought us here as bait. It picked us to create a narrative of needing a witch and a sacrifice. I looked down to Truffles, wondering how he fit into this narrative. Have you seen the Black Cauldron? Diablo stepped out next to me. I was there when it came out, a big fan of pigs, hence why he's free, loyal to. He wouldn't have these two, unlike that stowaway frog. Xena scowled at it. He's a toad, she corrected. You say toad, I say, in the hole. I can't help but snicker at the awful joke. Good, right? I've had centuries to improve on my humour, but seriously, now you're all here, it's time to summon hell. I hear the screams from my family coming from downstairs, as the wood below my feet begins cackling away from the heat of the inferno. I notice its wrist is writhing about, summoning the fire, and without a second thought I yell for Truffles to get it. The good pig listens and grabs onto Diablo, who desperately tries shaking him off. Whilst it's distracted, I grab onto its wrist, keeping it steady. Truffles lets go and runs over to Xena and Joey. He gnaws at their already loosened restraints. They've clearly been struggling at this for over a week, but became too tired. Now they have a new rush of adrenaline. Hope does that to people. Diablo is scratching at my skin. Its claws burn like 1,000 suns, but I can't let it win. It digs its claws into me, hooking them under my skin. It's then released, and then I realise what it's trying to do. It's trying to force me into the light. It grabs my neck with its other hand. I feel my blood desperate to escape. My fatal wound still remains. Bloody Marie forces herself into the attic, followed by Mum. They lunge at Diablo, holding it back whilst it's still gripped onto my neck. As I choke for air, I allow my blood to seep down its wrist, the red of its skin and my blood merging to make it look like its skin is melting away. Mum grabs a piece of broken wood and forces it through its body. Diablo laughs an unholy laugh. I'm not a vampire, Ellen. Try again. I'm pulled further and further into the light, my skin boiling like it's being cooked. I suppose it is being cooked. I look desperately into its eyes, looking for any kind of humanity I can latch onto, but nothing. I'm double dead and staring in the eyes of the devil. My fate is in its claws. Wait! Grandmother yells, forcing her way up. Ah, you caught up with us then? Diablo laughs. Take my gift. I know that's what you want. Diablo lets go of my wrist and leans over to Grandmother, who is sweating profusely. I can't tell if it's from exhaustion or from running or because of the heat. I hear the sound of sirens blaring outside. This is a flat. It's only just dawned on me how disastrous the fire is going to be if we don't stop it. Mine too. Xena steps forward, finally free. And mine, Mum continues the trend. And ours. Dad calls up the ladder. The doors must be blocked, otherwise he'd have already fled with baby. Diablo looks to me expectantly and I nod, agreeing to give up my own powers. He laughs hysterically. I don't want your powers, you fools. I want you dead. You were my biggest mistake. He points his nail at Grandmother, who herself begins laughing. Well, I get it now. We all look at her confused. You're afraid of me, aren't you? Diablo shuffles on his hooves. Don't be absurd, you old bat. I've lived centuries. I'm not afraid of someone as young as you. Grandmother's eyes glow white as she walks past. She's desperately holding onto the top of the attic ladder. Usually she relaxes when she does this, but now she's focusing. I see your past, Diablo. I see your birth. I see your humanity, lost to the might of the beast. Don't call him that. Diablo growls, letting go. That's what he is. I see him now. He destroyed your home, your family, left you alone and afraid. In your anger you embraced the darkness and was reborn. Now you are the beast you feared. Diablo falls to its knees, clawing at his face, crying, Please, I want to forget. Grandmother offers Diablo a hand and it accepts. A blinding white light engulfs them both, sending shockwaves throughout the flat. It blasts me back into the shadows as Diablo disintegrates in the chaos. It's only now I've realised a small piece of its claw lay buried in my skin. It dissolves into my bloodstream, and I watch my skin burn into a brilliant red. I look out to my family from deep within the shadows, and I cover my eyes with my claws and wrap myself up in my wings. I've become the devil.